There's no doubt today that we live among an unprecedented family breakdown. There's no doubt in my mind, there's no doubt if you just look around to your left, to your right, there's never been a sadder day than the family breakdown that we see today. The demise of the structure of the family, the single family home today is so prevalent. The statistics tell us that it's so large today, it's amazing. I mean, it's staggering how many families today just have one parent in the home. And not only that, saints, there's so many downfalls. There's so many areas. I read and I listen to the news quite a bit, and I see some horrific things where the parent that put his child in the seat in the back of his car and stopped on the bridge and just threw the seat over. And the little girl was alive when he threw the seat over the bridge. And I mean, you know, saints, this is a day we cannot just let it go on and think it won't touch us. Come on, how many of you hear me now? And we need to understand that the diseases and the sicknesses that are plaguing us in so many ways and are eating at our financial structure all are based out of this family decline. How many of you hear me? And one of the things that some of these sicknesses are psychosomatic. How many of you know there's a lot of people today in hospitals that are not sick physically, but they're sick up here? Come on. They're sick where they think they have something that they don't really have. There's even hospitals today that give patients sugar pills, and the patient thinks they're getting better. That's a fact. And a lot of that emotional and a lot of that trauma that's happening in the dysfunctional family foundation is causing people to, in epidemic forms, to be in hospitals and clinics and mental institutions because, again, of the decline of the family. How many children today are out on the streets and out there lost and out there searching for something? Why is it that so many young African American children, blacks, out in the streets of America are killing one another? Come on. We need to realize that there's an epidemic going on, and it's related to the problem in the home. There's no doubt Malachi chapter 4:6 is really important for us, saints, because what it's doing is, this is where God promised that Elijah will come and turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers. You see, that's the last thing God said, and that's the very thing that Jesus picked up in Matthew when he came and said that John the Baptist had on him the spirit of Elijah. And I want you to know that that is an anointing that comes. And I believe that we're living in a day where God is raising up a generation that'll have the spirit of Elijah on them. And they will follow after what the edict of the word is here. And I want you to catch this, because the enemy knows that if this comes to pass, his days are going to be worse than ever before. Because this breakdown has caused us to be where we are today. You see, Satan knows that if the spirit of Elijah comes over the fathers and their hearts are turned back to the children, and then the children are turned back to the fathers, that there's no way that he can stop the multiplier. There's no way that he can weaken the home. And the weakening of the home is what he has to do to bring a nation down. The issue with the kids is not just the parents' fault. I mentioned it a minute ago. Something wicked and diabolic has been released. A real evil has been released over the world, over the earth, to turn children against their parents. It's a spirit, saints. How many of you hear that? It's in the television shows. It's in the music that they listen to. It is a spirit that's unleashed over the nation. Are you hearing me? And I don't mean just America. It's all over. 2 Timothy in chapter 3. But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. For men will be lovers of themselves and lovers of money. My Lord, could there ever be a day when people are more in love with themselves? Come on. People today are so in love with themselves they can't see anybody else. Dads are so in love with themselves they don't even see their kids in the house. The spirit that has been loosed over the earth, saints, is Satan's counterattack against the spirit of Elijah that wants to come, that has been loosed on the earth. How many of you know there's a counter spirit coming against the spirit of Elijah? And that counter spirit is from Satan to bring that whole mess of headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasures, traitors, despisers of good, slanderers, unforgiving, unloving, unholy, without self-control, unthankful, disobedient to parents. Come on. The first definition of the family in the dictionary, it says this. Webster calls it parents and their children. The first definition of the family is listed as parents and their children. How many of you know it was never meant to be parent? Family is an institution created by God, and without God's plan for morality of humans on the earth, we digress to an animal and sub-animal qualities. How many of you hear that? We become more and more vicious and more sick. Family and morality are the very fiber of order for any society. We only have to look around us to see the statistics and the connection between criminality and broken homes, saints. How many kids are in prison today? Millions. 2 or 3 million kids in prison right now. So sad, saints. How an 18-year-old is going to stay in a box for the rest of their life. That's one of the things that drove me to the cross. Spending enough time in jail in a little square box, I knew I couldn't have handled it. I knew I needed something to change me. The Jebusite nation, the name for the Jebusite nation means, listen to this, it means a place trodden down, a place of rejection. Put it down in your notes if you're a note taker. The number one issue today in the homes of America and the homes of the world is the word rejection. The reason kids turn to homosexuality is not because they have something in the back of their brain. Somewhere there's a rejection factor. Even if it's an iniquity passed down from another generation, there's a rejection factor that grew as a little root inside of that kid, and it grew up to become a mature issue. The Jebusite means a place trodden down or rejection. Key word here the enemy has used today is this word rejection, saints. Rejection is defined as the refusal to accept, consider, submit to hear, or receive, or admit. We are in a mess today because we won't admit we're in a mess. The alcoholic never gets delivered because he never says he has a problem. Hello? It's only till we acknowledge that we have a problem. It's only till we admit that we have something that needs to be fixed. Can it get fixed? How many of you know we need to run from it and begin to identify with how to get healed? We need to reject the thing that we see on TV and that we hear all the time. We need to say, no, no, no. I'm not going to buy into that. That's supposed to be the norm. That's abnormal. Come on. Rejection, refusal to accept, consider, submit to hear, receive, or to admit. Its manifestation is always the opposite of love. Here's the words of a song I found by Michael Card. It's a song called Love Crucified Arose. I'll read a little bit of Corinthians in just a minute. Love crucified arose. Long ago he blessed the earth, born old than the years. And in the stall of a cross he saw through the first of many tears. A life of homeless wandering cast out in sorrow's way. The shepherd seeking for the lost, his life the price he paid. Love crucified arose the risen one in splendor. Jehovah's sole defender has won the victory. Love crucified arose, and the grave became a place of hope. For the heart that sin and sorrow broke is beating once again. Love crucified arose. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I become sounding brass or a clinging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. You see, the opposite spirit that comes against rejection is the spirit of love, saints. We need love in our homes. You see, when people stop loving each other, then they go to war with each other. When people stop loving each other, they won't forgive each other. When people stop loving each other, they have no patience for each other. They have no tolerance for anything. Come on. How do you know what we need back in our homes is a lot of love? A whole lot more. How do you know we need love in the church? We need love in our hearts. We need to love those that are hurting. We need to love those that found themselves in some form of rejection and maybe cause them to turn towards a different lifestyle. How do you believe the Lord needs to bring some love back in our homes? How do you know we need to forgive? We need to forgive our children. Our children need to forgive us. We need to get back to that place where His love is working in our lives. Come on. A father's love is beyond human description. His love is not expressed because of what is in us or by anything we could ever do, saints. His love is encompassing who He is and extends to us by the nature of who He is. He loves us because of the fact that He is love. He sent His Son to die for the unlovely and for the misunderstood. How many of you are glad He sent His love for you? I love this, and I want to make a statement here today. The New Testament is not the only part of the Bible that refers to God's love and compassion. We got people today that are moved over too far in the mercy of God, and so they've moved over somewhere where even the devil's going to get saved. How many of you know the Old and the New Testament are both mixed? Much of it is mixed with God's passion and compassion. Let me prove it to you. Exodus chapter 34 and verse 5 through 7. This is about the nature of God. Listen at Him talking to Moses. The Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abounding in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the third and the fourth generations. Man, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abounding in goodness. How do you believe the God of the Old Testament is full of love as well as the God of the New Testament? How do you know He's the God of mercy? He's the God of grace. And we need to say, God, send that mercy and that grace back in our homes today. Let that love begin to fill our homes today until there is no way the enemy can slip in and divide our homes and separate our marriages and kill more generations off.